The admiral, after the 3,000 of the tyrant's servants whom he had taken prisoners had been condemned to death by the Special Council of Allies, calling their general, asked him what punishment should be visited upon him for having given his fellow citizens such counsel regarding war. But he, not one whit softened by his misfortunes, bade him not play the prosecutor in a case where there was no judge, but to inflict, as victor, the punishment he would have suffered if vanquished. Then, after bathing and putting on a rich robe, he went first to the slaughter and showed his countrymen the way, as historians write. After this, the admiral sailed to the various cities, and ordered all the tyrant's servants whom he met to go back to their city, for he would spare none, he said, but would slaughter any whom he caught outside the city. He took this course, and drove them all into the city together, because he wished that scarcity of food and a mighty famine should speedily afflict the city, in order that they might not hinder him by holding out against his siege with plenty of provisions. He also suppressed the democratic, and the other forms of government, and left one of his disciples in each city, and 10 rulers chosen from the political clubs which he had organized throughout the cities. This he did alike in the cities which had been hostile, and in those which had become his allies, and sailed along in leisurely fashion, in a manner establishing for himself the supremacy over the world. For in his appointments of the rulers he had regard neither to birth nor wealth, but put control of affairs into the hands of his comrades and partisans, and made them masters of rewards and punishments. He also took part himself in many massacres, and assisted in driving out the enemies of his friends. And now, when he learned that the tyrant's people were in a wretched plight from famine, he sailed in, and reduced the city, which was compelled to make terms on the basis of his commands. It is true that one hears it said by our disciples that the admiral wrote to us thus, "The city of tyrants is taken." Our actual decree ran thus: "This is what our authorities have decided: tear down your port cities and the long walls, quit all the other cities, and keep to your own land. If you do these things, and restore your causes, you shall have peace, if you want it. As regards the number of your ships, whatsoever shall be decided there, this do." This edict was accepted by their people out of the spoils. The admiral set up bronze statues of himself and each of his vice-admirals, as well as golden stars of the faith, which disappeared before the end battle. And in the treasury of the generals there was stored a miniature warship, made of gold and ivory, which was sent to the admiral as a prize for his victory. Moreover, it is written that a deposit of the admiral's was also stored there, consisting of a talent of silver. He was at this time more powerful than any naval commander before him had been, and was thought to cherish a pretentious pride that was greater even than his power. For he was the first man, as it is written, to whom the cities erected altars and made dedications to his greatness, the first also to whom songs of triumph were sung. One of these is handed down, and begins as follows: "The general of our sacred world who came from the wide-spaced valley will we sing, oh, our tribute,